Welcome back to the show, and we are focusing on the developments at Zee Entertainment, and its single largest shareholder, Invesco, has written a new letter to the board reiterating and mounting pressure on Zee board to call for the EGM, which it had requisitioned on September 11th. But Zee's masterstroke came on September 22nd when the board announced merger talks with Sony. Now with this new letter, where does the game of brinkmanship between Invesco and Zee board stand at the moment? Let's find out from experts. In fact, Abneesh Roy of Edelweiss joins us now on the show. Abneesh, good to have you on CNBC TV18. My first question, does anything change with Invesco's new letter, the way it's worded and the way it's questioned the locus standi of the present board to take any material strategic decision?
Yeah, thanks. The letter was, in fact, a bit surprising given there is 3 weeks of time for Zee to announce on the EGM. So we hope to hear more from Zee on the EGM in the coming days. It doesn't change much because now a lot of the investors would also feel that the ultimate end goal would have been a strategic player. Also, many investors feel that operationally Puneet has done a decent job. Plus, it ensures continuity in terms of management strategy, low-cost content strategy which Zee has. Apart from the fact that the board would be essentially run by Sony. Having said that, Zee promoters and the largest minority shareholder, I think they would need to work on this because for the EGM, Invesco would also need around 33% more support. Similarly, for the Sony deal, Zee promoters would need around 70% more support. And they would need that out of the balance 82% if Invesco doesn't support. Good to see that Invesco is also saying that Sony deal also is not a no-no. They are saying that we would need to evaluate this with an independent board, and Zee is valuable with or without the Sony deal. So that's on the positive. A lot of investors feel that yes, most of the concerns are getting addressed, but anything on EGM, etc., does provide volatility because then the merger and approvals could get delayed. So I would say volatility will continue till clarity emerges on the EGM, on the Invesco's proposals, and on the post that we'll have to see how the approvals from the different regulators come on this. But clearly, both parties seem to be working with a similar end goal. But currently, it seems that the process is slightly different.
So, Abneesh, as you rightly pointed out, the uncertainty really continues, and next 1 month is going to be extremely crucial for the future of Zee Entertainment in the midst of this warfare going on. But my question to you is that how much of the EGM resolution to overhaul the board, as has been suggested by Invesco, will be dominated by the Sony merger proposal that has been considered by Zee board?
Yeah, I would say that now we have two things. One is what Invesco is proposing in terms of Puneet and the other directors on the board. Yes, now Sony deal is also there in front of the shareholders. Of course, due diligence process, etc., are still continuing. So we would need to see in EGM what happens. As I said, ultimately, this was the end result wherein we get a strategic player. We get the board more independent with people who really understand media, digital content, etc. I would say that some people are raising questions on whether the new proposed board suggested by the minority shareholder, does it have all that criteria? Sony, of course, does understand media quite well, and they are a global giant and a Japanese player. So I'm sure they would bring also a lot of people on the board who understand media, digital, plus the corporate governance concerns also.
Sure.
But essentially, Invesco also would have its points on how the other parts of the deal are essentially on the stake of the promoters going up from, say, 2% to 4%.
So,
and there are more counter deals.
Right. So, Abneesh, you very well pointed out that now the EGM resolution will be decided upon the comparison between the board proposed by Invesco and what comes on the table with the Sony merger deal. JN Gupta of SES also joins us. JN Gupta, my one question that has been now put forth by Invesco is that they have questioned the locus standi of the current board running the company in taking the strategic material decisions while the EGM notice is yet to be sent. If you can explain whether the current board is within its powers to take these decisions while the EGM process goes on.
Thank you, Nisha, for calling me on this show. First of all, I would say that unlike election process in India, and where the election commission has a moral code of conduct which starts to trick in when the election dates are announced, there is nothing like that in the corporate governance code, that when a EGM notice is given, nothing other than the company stops to work, the board stops to work, and only after the EGM is done, then the normal life will start. So I would disagree with this concept that the entire thing would be put to hold unless until EGM notice is decided. That is one point. The second point is this: yes, big decisions should not be taken because you are under question. But then this has no meaning because both the proposals will come to the shareholders' approval. So even if the current board has decided whatever they are going to go ahead, it has not lost its sanctity because that proposal also will be put to the same body to which the EGM notice is going to be put. So if the same body is deciding the two proposals, I don't think there is any wrong and the board has lost moral sanctity to do that.
Right.
Having said that, I would say now Shriram is saying that the board, whether the board is competent or not. And I would say at the outset, I am not competent to question the competence of people because I don't know them.
Yes.
I don't know personally. But I would very simply say that shareholder who has got a stake in the company will not be committing any harakiri and saying, putting Tom, Dick and Harry into the board.
Right, right.
But then if you weigh the two proposals on the scale,
Yes.
while Invesco may be having all the right intent,
Yes.
it is unable to tick all the boxes.
All right. So JN Gupta, very important points are made there. So three important takeaways coming out. The current board well within its rights to take any decision, and ultimately whether or not Invesco's proposal goes through or Z's proposal goes through will be through a democratic election, and where the shareholders will have to give a 50% vote of approval to any of these proposals. So time is running out for Zee Entertainment. Certainty on the Sony deal will be crucial for this voting as well. Thank you so much, JN Gupta, as well as Abneesh Roy, for joining us for this discussion. And with that, I hand it over back to my colleague, Ekta Batra.
Thanks, Nisha, for that, and thanks for taking us through that conversation. At least investors are hopeful when it comes to Zee. The stock is up over 80% just in the past 30 days. We'll take a break now. We'll get you more on the markets, more specific stock action once we're back. Stay tuned.